Hey everybody, my name is Sharon Quinn, and I'm also known as the original runway diva, and you are watching Model Behavior. Class is officially in session. My guests today are FFF Week Beauty Director Tonya Giddens, Production Director and Set Designer Leonard Davis, and Musical Events Liaison Taihisha Grant. Welcome Tonya, Leonard, and Taihisha to Model Behavior.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You guys are so polite, and y'all so not like this in real life, but it's okay. So I'm going to start with you, Tonya.
Okay.
You're the beauty director for FFF Week. Explain to everybody, you know, what it is that you do and what that job entails, and just how wonderful it is for you.
Well, the job of beauty director for Full Figured Fashion Week is, in essence, to make sure that the models look beautiful once they hit the runway. I handle putting together the hair and makeup team, collaborating with the stylist as well as the executive producer, who is Gwen DeVoe, and just all of us coming together to select looks that would look good on the models and that would makeup looks that would complement them as well.
Now, how far in advance do you start looking for hairstyles for the next year and looks that you're going to use?
Well, actually, I start looking sometimes a month or two after the last event, just so I can see what trends are coming up. I like looking at the Fashion Week events, whether it be New York City, London, Paris, any of the European countries, just to see what they're doing so I can get a feel for what we should be doing for the following season.
Okay, and how do you go about selecting the glam squad, the hair and the makeup people?
Well, I've been involved with makeup. I've been doing makeup since I was a little girl. I love makeup, I love fashion, I love music, but I generally have come together with different makeup artists and hairstylists, and I'd like to see if we all have a complete fit. Because, you know, sometimes they can be a little more demanding or a little more sensitive about their artistry.
Okay.
So I like to bring someone on who has, number one, experience in dealing with a hectic setting. Because you know from what we've done that the settings backstage, they can get a little
chaotic.
It can be very chaotic. So someone who has experience, patience, and just an overall good personality.
So the chemistry is really important.
Absolutely.
Okay. Leonard.
Hi.
How you doing?
Great.
And now Leonard has been on the show before, and you know your episode is one of the most popular ones. Now you do production and set design for FFF Week. Tell me what that entails.
The set design, well, part and parcel of one of parts of both. First is production. Production starts off with a budget, finding out how much the organization wants to spend on a given year for the production aspect of the show, and then working within those parameters to put together a look. I have to research around, and just as my colleague here, to know what is trending. Most of the major fashion shows, maybe the Chanel, the Valentinos, the Christian Dior shows in Europe, put billions of dollars into production, which is part of their branding. And so when they do these magnificent shows on an annual basis, the American designers, for us, the designer at the designer level, the Donna Karan, even Tracy Reese, several of the major designers put a lot into production. And so they'll have a set, they'll have a theme, they'll have a look. Diamond Furstenberg in particular does a major show every year and puts a lot of emphasis on the production aspect of the show, the look of the show. So I think that's what has carried us quite a distance in terms of how our annual shows have looked. So I look at those examples to see what's trending, what equipment is new, or go to museums even and see different displays and different ways in which people are projecting images and giving us a new view, you know, a new way in seeing things or whatever, and then use that, you know, in the fashion, you know, as it applies to fashion.
Okay. And are you also responsible for the backstage production team as well?
No, I'm not involved. We have to coordinate with them,
Right.
whatever, and we have to work together. But certainly I'm involved with the front end, actually, more so. The coordination of it all, set design, and then how all of that coordinates with the lights, the sound, you know, the backstage, the rotation, the running of the show, and everything, in unison. So everything has to be timed, etc., so that the show works, you know, just, you know, like clockwork.
Okay.
Okay. No glitches. That's the production term.
But there are always glitches.
Well, you're not supposed. So when you get to Broadway, you cover your glitches. You ever see a Broadway show that had a glitch? No, not that you.
I have.
Well, not that you knew of. I'm saying you're not. People are professional enough. We know how to
they cover
compensate.
It up,
yeah.
I've seen it.
Well, we did too. So we have our tactics or whatever to make the show look as professional and as smooth running as possible, and that's our job.
Okay. Taihisha, now you are the you're the musical events liaison.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I am.
You got to explain all of that to me.
Basically, what it is, what I do is I coordinate with Gwen for the musical events that happen during Full Figure Fashion Week. You know, on some evenings we may put on, have special nights, for instance, a special performance, or if there's a special performance during one of the finale shows, I basically coordinate with the artists that we have performing on these shows and take care of all the contracts, liaison with them in regards to their staging needs. And all of this comes very easy to me because I myself am a performing artist. So I have a special knowledge of what it takes to just translate from contracts to stage plots to the actual production of these events.
And how much time do you start doing that? I mean, I know there's a lot of paperwork can be really time consuming. Over what period of time do you do that? When do you start like negotiating with?
Well, depending upon who Gwen would like to engage to perform for whatever event we're looking to put together. I mean, basically you start off with an initial proposal to kind of get a quote, see if it works within our budget, and if so, moving forward with contracts. And you know, the contractual part of it can get a little sticky because you're dealing with writers, you're dealing with special requests, and so we basically have to tailor it for our event, basically what we can provide versus what the artist would like. So, I mean, the going back and forth and negotiating can be a little tedious at the beginning, but once you get everything sewn up and locked in, we're good to go. It's very scheduled, you know, regimented, and, you know.
There's a lot of rehearsal involved, because I remember Sultry Night in Harlem for last year, which I really enjoyed, even though I was stage managing for that, so I didn't really get to enjoy it as much as I would have liked, but I know that a lot of work went into that.
Well, that event in particular was an enormous undertaking because we had a whole band that we needed to rehearse weeks before the production, and we were dealing with, I think, maybe about 10 to 12 people. And then we also had a special artist who was performing on the show as well, Eric Roberson. So that just adds a whole nother element to it because his business is worked at a certain level, so you have to cover that. Then you cover the core team, and it was a huge undertaking, but I think it was successful.
Okay, Tonya.
Yes.
Now, how did you get your start in? Well, actually, I want to know how you got the beauty director position. I don't remember that story.
You know what? I don't remember that story either. I think I kind of just walked into it.
Okay.
As I stated before, I've been fascinated with makeup and fashion and beauty. I guess it was because when I was a little girl, I didn't consider myself beautiful because back in those days, and I'm telling my age when I say in the early 70s, you know, we had the Barbie dolls. And even though I like Barbie, I also had Chrissy, which was the black version of Barbie, and I had her boyfriend Curtis. You didn't know about Curtis?
No.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Chrissy had a boyfriend named Curtis.
Okay.
And I never thought that I was as pretty as those girls and, you know, being picked on in school and bullied, I never expected, I always wanted to be one of the beautiful people. And it wasn't until I got older and I started getting these looks for my physical attributes. And I'm just saying, okay, something's a little off. I wasn't used to that. Even today, I don't take, I'm real nervous when people give compliments. And then I guess that kind of catapulted me into dealing with beauty and fashion because I didn't think that I was that pretty girl, you know? So ever since I was a little girl, I've loved makeup. And it kind of spiraled into doing fashion. And then one day, I guess Ms. DeVoe had a light bulb moment and asked me to be the beauty director. And I've been a beauty director since the inception, 2009.
And do you consider yourself to be a makeup artist per se, or have you studied?
Well, I've studied, I've read a lot of books. I actually worked for a major cosmetic retailer. I'm not going to say any names, but it was Black owned. So I've kind of cut my chops in the fashion and makeup industry.
Okay. Leonard.
Yeah.
Now, FFF Weeks, the sets are legendary, as you know, as the lights don't even go off in the building and folks are trying to copy the work that you did for their shows all over the country. So I guess what I'm asking is, so we're going to be really surprised by what we see this year?
This year? Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What you know?
Yeah, well.
I don't know anything. I'm looking forward to it because I missed it last year, so I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Big surprises.
We're going over the top.
Well, there's a spirit of excellence on him.
Absolutely.
In everything that he does.
Yes,
so I expect nothing but over and beyond.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So let's be real. The stuff you do with the white backdrop that I think you use paper plates.
Yeah, I've created flowers. Well, hey, that's the challenge.
That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
But
it was stunning.
But within your budget, and you have to challenge yourself to come up with something creative that still works, that's spectacular, given the budget, that's still trending. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I challenge myself with every year.
But where does that drive to I mean, who visualizes stuff like that? I look at paper plate, I see lunch.
Well, it's paper.
How do you see flowers?
Well, because I'm from the Fashion Institute of Technology.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And so from that from that starting point, that's what education is all about, to be there, to surround yourself with the best and the brightest, and to see if you can compete. And if you can stand up to the best and the brightest nationally and then internationally, then you may have something. You may be able to make it. So I've always been challenged by, and I've always gone to sources that were way beyond my, view, you know what I'm saying, to conceptualize what it is that I want to do, and I don't always understand it. So many times it's way out of my realm of thinking. But that's where you want to stretch to at each time, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm constantly trying to aspire to be better, than I am, and to bring that back with me, you know what I'm saying, and bring some aspect of that to our show every year.
And how did you meet Gwen and fall into this position?
Years ago at the Apollo Theater, we were doing a big major show at the Apollo Theater, and no one had stepped up. Everyone was backstage as usual, fighting over the clothes, worrying about the makeup, the clothing, the models, the rehearsals, what have you, and no one was out front looking at the presentation for what it was going to be. And that's my background, and although I'm a designer, it is really important to me to come and see how things are going to be presented. What's the theme? What's the look of the show? Before the curtain opens, I'm looking at the curtain. And so what's there, you know what I'm saying, just in anticipation of the show, something has to have me there, thrilled to just even be looking at that, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just waiting. So I went to the Apollo committee and asked them, do they have a runway? And they said no one had asked for a runway. I said, well, we need to build a runway. I said, what are we going to do in terms of the look? And they were more than willing. No one had
ever asked. Okay.
And so we got it together, had a wonderful show. Ms. DeVoe, whom I didn't know, was the ground crew for that show. And what's critical,
I remember that
At
show.
all fashion shows,
it too.
the front end, the facade, the look of the show is one thing, but the pacing of the show and all of the dressers and all that, aside from the designs, I mean, the clothing in and of itself is great, but the pacing of the show, the structure, and the running of the show is based on how good is that ground crew. Critical for a show. And that show ran like clockwork. So as I was very impressed, and I was interested to know who was running the ground crew. She was impressed at the fact of the way the show looked, and she wanted to know who was production manager. So we kind of met in the middle, and I was like, who's the little, they said this lady back there. Look, I'm 5'8", so I went running up and like, are you? So we met, and we were fast friends. We were both impressed with one another, and she told me, you will never leave me. You will be my friend forever. And I said the same thing to her. But she had a vision at that time for a show that she was wanting to put on. She didn't tell me about it at that time, but she said, we're going to talk. So I have a vision for something that I want to do, and I want you to be a part of it. So years later, we met one day, and she gave me her whole concept of the show that she was wanting to put on. She had no money. And she had no sponsors, but she was going to somehow or other make it happen. And I told her, well, you know what? I'm with you. And so we joined forces at that point, and all of the resources that I had and influences that you could draw upon, I brought those all to the table, and so did she. And we united, and bam, it happened.
And it's been great ever since.
Ever since.
Really, I tell you, the universe will put people in your path when
Right.
it's
Absolutely.
time.
Well, good people only meet good people.
I don't know about that, Leonard.
It's true. It's true. Or you'll meet the good part of people.
Okay,
The
I'll
best
let you go.
aspects of people.
I'll let you go with that one,
Yeah.
because I don't know. Okay, 'cause I done met some bad people.
Okay, well.
Taihisha,
Yes, my dear.
how did you get this? How did you meet Gwen, and how did she persuade you to take this position?
Well, I met Gwen because she attended, I was doing a one-woman show at Feinstein's at the Regency Hotel here in New York, and I met her there, and we became acquainted. First we became acquainted on Facebook, and then she came out and saw my show, and we spoke, and we kind of, clicked in that way. And my first position, this is my second position.
Okay, what was your first
within
one?
Full Figure Fashion Week. My first position was actually the advertising coordinator.
Right,
Yes.
I remember that. Okay.
Right. I assisted Gwen in curating the journal that we would pass out every year. So I did that for 2 years, and then when she decided to take the journal in another direction, basically not have it and do something a little different, we decided that I would work with musical events because that's something that came natural to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now your first foray into that was what's it called? The curvy, the show that they did.
Yes.
It was,
Yes.
I can't think of what we called it.
We called it
Curvy Cabaret.
Yes, we
That's
did.
what it was.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Myself, Raj Jalari, jazz artist Raj Jalari, and also Storm, Storm is she does R&B and soul, and we came together. Three forces came together, three solo artists. We came together and kind of formed a super group and put on a show within one of the events at Full Figure Fashion
You
Week.
set the tone because nobody else was doing that, and I don't think anyone has attempted to do that since.
No.
And you kind of bettered it with the Sultry Night in Harlem.
Yeah.
So
both events were really fun. I mean, Curvy Cabaret was really great because it was like girl power times 100. Sultry Night in Harlem was really great because it was, the live band aspect. And then we had Eric Roberson that joined us, and he's phenomenal.
Didn't want to get off the stage.
He didn't want to get off the stage, but you know what? We didn't care because he's Eric Roberson.
I became a fan that night. I didn't know who he was before.
Oh my
then.
gosh, he's so fabulous. And you know what's the great thing about him? He's a wonderful performer. But as a person, he is so genuine.
Yes.
And that you can't pay for that. And so it was really awesome. He brought a really great tone to the show. And so this year, We're working on a few things.
Did you know that was my next question?
We're working on a few things, and I think it'll be just as fabulous as it was last year. So,
are you going to be returning to the stage, or you can't? You can't say.
I can't say. I don't know. But whatever we do, it will be wonderful.
Now, you guys have all been in your positions for, well, you've been from the start,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, where would you like to see it go moving forward?
Oh, that's a great question.
Like, what's your dream for the Glam Squad and the whole beauty team? Where would you want to take this?
Well, I can't say I want to take this global because Full Figure Fashion Week is already global on that aspect. I would like to see more edge, I think.
When you say edge,
When I say edge, I want to see high drama, real haute couture. For those that don't know what haute couture is, that's high fashion.
Okay.
Not that we don't do it, but I would like to see us turn it up to
Even more?
maybe 1,000. Just give the audience something that when they see, number one, when they see Leonard's stage, they're already going to say, oh,
We about to get a show.
yes. But when the girls come out, I want them to just fall out of their seats.
Okay.
That's what I would like to see.
So you need a makeup sponsor for that.
Absolutely.
Is it hard to get a makeup?
It is very hard. I know on one of your other shows you interviewed a sponsorship coordinator for Full Figure Fashion Week, and I've been working on makeup sponsors for years. I don't know what it is about certain events that they don't deal with or cater to, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I don't want to say that it's because we're plus size women that they don't think that plus size women wear makeup. Because as evidence here at this panel, we all have full face and lashes and lips and cheeks.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
Leonard, you want to jump in there? Because I know you got an answer sitting on the tip of your tongue.
What was the question?
You know what?
Get a show,
Makeup
what's the question?
sponsor. Makeup sponsor.
Oh, a makeup
She
sponsor.
says it's very hard to get one of those.
To get a sponsor, period. It's
Yes.
hard to get, but sponsors follow brands. Sponsors are investors, and people invest their money in what they think is going to win, what's going to be successful. So it's makeup sponsor. You don't care if Cadillac sponsors you. You don't care who the sponsor is. If someone wants to bring money to the game, but you have to do your branding. You have to raise the bar. You have to have something that is marketable that someone wants to support financially. And so that's what I think we've been doing all these years. We started from meager beginnings, and we have really, really created a brand that
Absolutely.
many people have been willing to support over these years, which is why we've been viable all
So
this
that
time.
makeup sponsor is right around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm
Now, where
playing
would
it.
you like to see FFF go in terms of the production?
The production, well, the show in and of itself, the concept of it all is trying to address the fact that 7th Avenue, okay, Fashion Week, what is in fact Fashion Week if in the market, the fashion market, doesn't really specifically address the full-figured model or the full-figured customer. But if you watch CNN and some of the documentaries and the reports or whatever, they're telling you that America is it's not a size 8. Okay, America, you know, by and large across the country, you know, the average size at this point is a 14, 18. Okay, so I don't think the fashion industry, as they display their clothing or whatever, not really focused on who the real majority customer is. And so I think that we created a movement. We've made the point, you know, that this is the customer that's not really being responded to, that's not being addressed. But to bring that into more of a mainstream, to put this into the fashion calendar, to transition, because we have our show in June, and we're really not having our show in coordination with Fashion Week, the Fashion Week that takes place for the fashion industry. So these are individual designers who are trying to build their brands, but the larger manufacturers who are really not, embracing the plus size industry, okay, as it were, really need to wake up and realize that that is their majority customer, and increasingly so. And so that is where what we do should really be a large component of Fashion Week.
Okay.
And I think that that's what we're transitioning to.
Okay. Taihisha.
Yes.
Same question. Where do you want to see the whole musical piece go quickly?
Quickly, okay. So I would like to see the whole musical part become more of a kind of like a premier place where artists, plus size, mainstream, would see Full Figure Fashion Week as a must-be place to come and showcase new music. I would like us to have more of a collaborative relationship with some of the artists, where they can just, basically come and say, this is where I need to be. This is a viable place to promote, and just see things in the productions of the events that we put together become larger and larger.
Okay.
So,
all right, guys, we're almost out of time. I'd like to thank my guests, Tonya Giddens, Leonard Davis, and Taihisha Grant, for sharing their industry knowledge with us today. Before I go, as always, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. 1, remember that you can't change the game until you first learn the game. 2, always surround yourself with positive people and positive things. And 3, do what you love and love what you do. Thanks for watching Model Behavior, and I'll see you all next week, Saturday at 11:30. Make sure you remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Hey, did you miss an episode of Model Behavior? Now you can catch up on all the prior episodes of the show by checking out our YouTube channel. Just Google Model Behavior with Sharon Quinn, and you'll find all of our previous episodes. Class is officially dismissed. Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks, guys. See, that wasn't hard.